Hello and welcome to Workers' Comp Unwrapped, the podcast that simplifies workers' compensation for physicians. I'm your host, Max, here to give you clear, actionable insights to navigate the medical legal side of workers' comp. So let's get started. Welcome to our 5th episode of Workers' Comp Unwrapped with Max and Aisha.
Hi, everyone.
Who has 15 years of experience in the workers' comp industry.
It's great to be here.
Today we're discussing paper or digital. Choosing the right billing method for your practice.
Sounds pretty important.
Yeah. Billing might not be the most exciting part of running a practice.
True.
But getting it right can make a world of difference, right?
Absolutely. It really is the backbone of a successful practice. And whether you're using paper or electronic billing, there are definitely tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade.
Yeah, that can streamline the process and help you get paid faster.
Okay, so let's unpack this for our listener.
Okay.
We know a lot of doctors are still using paper billing, so we want to make sure this deep dive helps them explore both options.
Makes sense.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes what seems cheap on the surface can end up costing you more in the long run.
That's so true. Think of it like this. You wouldn't buy the cheapest medical equipment without considering its quality and longevity, right? The same goes for your billing method.
Great point.
Yeah.
So to start off, can you break down the basics of paper and electronic billing for our listeners?
Sure. Paper billing is the traditional method. We're talking about those CMS 1500 forms, filling them out by hand, and then mailing them off to the insurance company. It's a very hands-on process.
Snail mail. How quaint.
Right.
And electronic billing.
Electronic billing, or e-billing, is all about going digital. It involves using software to submit claims electronically, often directly from your EHR system, much faster and more efficient.
Now, before we dive deeper into the pros and cons of each method, let's talk about a crucial piece of the puzzle, iPay. That's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, in case our listener needs a refresher.
Right.
It's all about protecting patient health information.
Right, and iPay applies to both paper and electronic billing. It's not that one method is inherently more compliant than the other, but rather that each requires specific safeguards to ensure you're handling sensitive information responsibly.
So it's about implementing the right procedures and protocols, regardless of which path you choose.
Exactly.
Okay, with that in mind, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of each method. Arsha, what are the main advantages of sticking with paper billing?
Well, for some practices, it's simply a matter of familiarity. They've been doing it this way for years, and it feels comfortable. You have physical control over your records, and there's no need to worry about software glitches or internet outages.
It's like that old comfy sweater you just can't part with.
Yeah.
But as with that sweater, there might be some hidden snags. What are some downsides to consider?
The biggest one is time. Manually filling out forms, making copies, stuffing envelopes, tracking down missing information.
Oh, yeah.
It all adds up.
Yeah.
Those are hours that could be spent seeing patients or focusing on other important tasks.
Time is money, as they say. And speaking of money, aren't there actual costs associated with paper billing beyond just staff time?
Oh, absolutely. Think about the cost of paper envelopes, postage, printer ink, file folders, and storage space for all those records. It might seem insignificant at first, but those expenses can accumulate surprisingly quickly.
Not to mention the environmental impact of all that paper.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about time and money. Are there any other potential drawbacks to paper billing that our listeners should be aware of?
One major concern is the increased risk of errors. Illegible handwriting, transposed numbers, missing information.
Yeah.
These mistakes can lead to claim rejections, and a rejected claim means delays in getting paid, which can disrupt your cash flow.
It's like a domino effect. One little error can trigger a whole chain of problems.
Exactly. And then you have to spend even more time correcting those errors and resubmitting the claims. It can become a real headache.
Okay, so while paper billing might seem straightforward at first glance, there are definitely some hidden costs and potential pitfalls to consider. Now let's flip the script and look at the world of electronic billing. What are the main benefits of going digital?
The biggest advantage is efficiency. E-billing automates so many steps in the process, which saves a ton of time. You can submit claims, instantly track their status online, and receive electronic payments directly into your bank account.
No more waiting for the mail carrier. I bet that does wonders for a practice's cash flow.
You're absolutely right. It gives you so much more financial predictability, which can be a game changer for things like budgeting, hiring, and investing back into your practice.
So speed and efficiency are key benefits. What about accuracy? Does electronic billing help reduce those pesky errors we talked about earlier?
Absolutely. Many e-billing systems have built-in checks that can catch errors before you submit a claim. For example, they might flag invalid codes or missing patient information. This can drastically reduce the number of rejections you receive and help you get paid faster.
That's like having a second set of eyes constantly reviewing your work.
Right.
What other advantages does e-billing offer?
Improved transparency is a big one. With many electronic systems, you can track the status of your claims in real time. You can see when they were received, processed, and paid, which eliminates a lot of the guesswork and uncertainty that comes with paper billing.
No more digging through file cabinets or playing phone tag with insurance companies.
Exactly. It gives you much more control over your revenue cycle.
Okay, so it sounds like e-billing offers some compelling advantages in terms of speed, efficiency, accuracy, and transparency.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are some drawbacks, right?
Of course. One of the biggest hurdles for some practices is the initial investment. You'll need to purchase software, potentially upgrade your hardware, and train your staff on the new system.
That can feel overwhelming, especially for smaller practices with limited budgets.
It's definitely a factor to consider. You need to weigh those upfront costs against the potential long-term savings in terms of time, materials, and reduced errors.
It's a classic cost-benefit analysis. What other challenges do doctors face when making the switch to e-billing?
Technical issues can be a concern. You need a reliable internet connection, and you're always at risk of software glitches or even cyber attacks.
So having a solid IT support system in place is essential.
Absolutely. And you need to make sure your chosen software has robust security features to protect patient data and comply with HIPAA regulations.
Speaking of security, let's dive deeper into HIPAA compliance and how it applies to both paper and electronic billing.
Sure. When it comes to e-billing, HIPAA's security rule outlines specific safeguards you need to have in place. These safeguards are categorized as administrative, physical, and technical.
Let's break those down for our listener. What are some examples of administrative safeguards?
Administrative safeguards are about policies and procedures. This includes things like conducting risk assessments, training your staff on HIPAA compliance, and implementing access controls to limit who can view or modify patient data.
So it's about creating a culture of security within your practice.
Exactly. Now, physical safeguards focus on protecting your hardware and the physical location where patient data is stored.
So we're talking about things like secure servers, locked offices, and surveillance systems.
Precisely. You need to make sure that only authorized personnel have access to areas where electronic health information is stored or processed.
And what about technical safeguards? Those sound pretty important in the digital age.
They are crucial. Technical safeguards involve using technology to protect patient data. This includes things like encryption firewalls, antivirus software, and two-factor authentication.
So it's about building multiple layers of protection to prevent unauthorized access or data breaches.
Exactly. And remember, HIPAA compliance is an ongoing process. You need to regularly review and update your safeguards as technology evolves and new threats emerge.
It's not a one-and-done task. It's about staying vigilant and proactive.
Right. Now, while those technical safeguards are specific to e-billing, HIPAA also has requirements for handling paper records.
So even if you're not embracing the digital world, there are still rules you need to follow.
Absolutely. For paper billing, HIPAA focuses on physical security. You need secure storage for those CMS 1500 forms and other patient documents. This might involve locked file cabinets, limited access to storage rooms, and secure disposal methods like shredding.
It's all about preventing unauthorized access, theft, or loss of sensitive information.
Exactly. And just like with e-billing, HIPAA compliance for paper records requires ongoing attention and diligence.
Whether you're using paper or electronic billing, HIPAA compliance is non-negotiable. The penalties for violations could be steep, so it's crucial to take it seriously and implement the appropriate safeguards.
Absolutely. Protecting patient privacy should be a top priority for every healthcare provider.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, from the basics of paper and electronic billing to the importance of HIPAA compliance. But before we move on, I want to touch on a final point. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, actively encourages electronic claim submissions.
That's right. CMS sees e-billing as a way to improve efficiency, reduce errors, and streamline the entire healthcare payment system.
So while you have the choice to stick with paper, for now, the industry is definitely moving towards a more digital future.
Absolutely. And in the next part of our deep dive, we'll help our listener navigate that decision-making process. We'll explore the key factors to consider when choosing between paper and electronic billing. So stay tuned.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to Workers' Comp Unwrapped.
So in the first part of our deep dive, we laid the groundwork.
Right.
Exploring paper and electronic billing and that all-important HIPAA compliance. Now let's get practical
Yeah.
and help our listener figure out which billing method is right for their practice.
Okay.
Because there's no one-size-fits-all answer here.
Absolutely not. It's about finding the best fit for your unique needs and goals.
So, Aisha, what are some key factors doctors should consider when making this decision?
Well, the first thing to think about is your claim volume. If you're a high-volume practice, the efficiency of electronic billing can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Imagine processing hundreds of claims manually each month.
Talk about a paperwork nightmare.
Exactly. But if you only have a handful of claims each month, paper might still be manageable.
Okay.
It really depends on your workload and how much time you're willing to dedicate to administrative tasks.
So it's about being realistic about your capacity and choosing a method that won't bog you down.
Right. Another important factor is your technology infrastructure.
Okay.
Do you have a reliable internet connection? Are you comfortable using computers and software?
Yeah.
These are essential questions to ask yourself before jumping into e-billing.
And what about the financial side of things? We talked about the hidden costs of paper billing, but e-billing comes with its own set of expenses, right?
Yes, you'll have to factor in the cost of software, potential hardware upgrades, and staff training, but you also need to consider the long-term savings.
Okay.
E-billing can reduce costs associated with paper postage and staff time spent on manual tasks.
So it's a balancing act, weighing those upfront investments against the potential for long-term efficiency and cost savings.
Exactly. And don't forget to consider the requirements of your major payers.
Oh, right. Some insurers prefer or even require electronic claim submissions. Check their policies to avoid any surprises.
Good point. It's always best to be in the loop and avoid potential claim denials down the line. Now, what about the human element? How does staff adaptability factor into this decision?
That's a crucial aspect that often gets overlooked. Change can be challenging, especially when it comes to technology.
Right.
Assess your team's comfort level with computers and software. Are they willing to learn a new system?
And what if you have staff members who are resistant to change or struggle with technology?
It's important to address those concerns head-on. Provide comprehensive training, offer ongoing support, and involve your staff in the decision-making process as much as possible. This can help ease the transition and ensure everyone feels comfortable and confident with the new system.
It's about fostering a sense of ownership and collaboration.
Absolutely. Remember, choosing a billing method isn't just about technology, it's about people and processes. Okay, so we've covered the key decision points. Now let's say our listener has weighed the pros and cons and decided to make the leap to electronic billing.
Okay.
What are your top tips for a smooth and successful transition?
First, take a good hard look at your current billing processes. Identify any bottlenecks or inefficiencies.
Think of it like spring cleaning for your billing system.
Exactly. This will help you choose a system that addresses your specific needs and pain points.
So it's not just about going digital, it's about going digital strategically.
Right. Next, do your homework and research different electronic billing systems. Don't just go with the cheapest or the most popular option. Consider user-friendliness,
Right.
compatibility with your EHR system, and of course, security features.
Speaking of EHR systems, is integration a must-have?
It's highly desirable.
Okay.
Seamless integration between your EHR and billing system can save you a ton of time and reduce the risk of errors.
Okay.
Imagine having patient demographics, insurance information, and billing codes flow seamlessly between the two systems.
That sounds like a dream come true for any busy practice.
It can make a world of difference. Once you've chosen a system, the next step is comprehensive staff training.
That makes sense. You can have the best software in the world, but it's useless if your staff doesn't know how to use it effectively.
You're absolutely right. Make sure your team understands how to navigate the system, enter information accurately, and troubleshoot any minor issues that may arise.
Yeah.
Ongoing support is also key.
What about rolling out the new system? Is it best to switch everything over at once or take a more gradual approach?
I generally recommend a phased approach.
Okay.
Start by transitioning a small portion of your claims to the new system and gradually increase the volume as your staff becomes more proficient. This allows you to iron out any wrinkles and make adjustments along the way.
It's like dipping your toes into the pool before jumping in head first.
Exactly. And don't forget to monitor the process closely.
Okay.
Gather feedback from your staff, track key metrics like claim denial rates and payment turnaround times, and be open to making tweaks as needed.
So it's an ongoing process of refinement and optimization.
Precisely. Technology is always evolving, and so are billing practices. Staying adaptable and continuously seeking ways to improve will ensure you're always getting the most out of your system.
Okay, so we've covered choosing a billing method and transitioning to e-billing.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, no matter how organized and efficient you are, challenges are bound to pop up. What are some common issues doctors encounter with billing, regardless of the method they choose, and how can they overcome them?
One of the biggest headaches for many practices is dealing with claim rejections. These can happen for a variety of reasons, from coding errors to missing information to incorrect patient demographics.
And each rejection means more paperwork, more time wasted, and potentially delayed payments.
Exactly. To minimize rejections, it's crucial to double-check every detail before submitting a claim.
Okay.
If you're using paper billing, have someone else review those CMS 1500 forms before you mail them off. And if you're using e-billing, take advantage of those built-in error checks we talked about earlier.
It's like having a second set of eyes to catch those sneaky mistakes.
Absolutely. Another common challenge is slow payment turnaround times.
Yeah.
Whether you're dealing with paper claims crawling through the postal system or electronic claims getting stuck in some bureaucratic black hole at the insurance company,
Right.
waiting for payment can put a strain on your cash flow.
It's the waiting game that no one enjoys playing.
I agree. To help speed things up, make sure you're submitting claims promptly and accurately.
Okay.
Follow up with the insurer if you haven't received payment within a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of proactive communication can go a long way.
So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and advocate for yourself.
Exactly. Now let's talk about coding.
Okay.
We touched on this earlier, but accurate coding is absolutely essential for getting paid what you deserve.
Coding is the language of medical billing, and even a small mistake can have big consequences.
That's right. Incorrect codes can lead to claim denials, delays, and even audits. To avoid these issues, invest in ongoing education for your billing staff. Make sure they're up to date on the latest coding guidelines and have access to resources that can help them stay current.
Knowledge is power, especially in the ever-changing world of medical billing.
Absolutely. And consider using coding software that can help you select the most appropriate codes for each service. These tools can be invaluable for ensuring accuracy and maximizing reimbursement.
So it's about combining human expertise with the power of technology.
Exactly. Another challenge that often arises is dealing with different payer requirements.
Yeah.
Each insurance company seems to have its own unique set of rules and regulations.
That's enough to make your head spin.
It can be overwhelming. Some insurers prefer electronic claims, others still accept paper, and each one has its own specific forms and deadlines. To stay organized, create a system for tracking these requirements and make sure your claims are submitted accordingly.
So organization and attention to detail are key.
Absolutely. And if you're using e-billing, many software systems have features that can help you manage payer requirements and automate some of these tasks.
That's a huge time saver.
It is. Now let's talk about one final challenge that applies to both paper and electronic billing: keeping up with industry changes.
The world of medical billing is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
New regulations, new codes, new technologies.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It's true. But staying informed is essential for success. Subscribe to industry newsletters.
Okay.
Attend conferences and network with other professionals. Knowledge is your best defense against the ever-changing landscape of medical billing.
It's about being proactive and embracing lifelong learning.
Exactly. The more you know about the industry, the better equipped you'll be to handle challenges and maximize your revenue.
Aisha, this has been incredibly helpful. You've given our listener a lot to think about when it comes to common billing challenges. But before we move on, is there one overarching piece of advice you'd give to doctors who are feeling overwhelmed by the complexities of billing?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's good advice.
You don't have to go it alone. There are experts out there who can guide you through the process, whether it's a billing consultant, a software vendor, or even your peers. Remember, you're a doctor, not a billing expert.
Yep.
Focus on what you do best, which is taking care of patients, and delegate those billing tasks to someone who can help you navigate the complexities and maximize your revenue.
It's a reminder that we're all in this together, and there's no shame in seeking support.
Definitely.
Now, in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore expert tips for optimizing your billing process and boosting your revenue, regardless of which method you choose. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Workers' Comp Unwrapped. We've talked about choosing the right billing method,
Right.
transitioning to e-billing, and tackling those inevitable billing challenges. Now, let's shift our focus to what every practice wants.
Okay.
Boosting revenue. Because at the end of the day, efficient billing is about getting paid what you deserve for the valuable services you provide.
Absolutely. Let's dive into some expert tips for optimizing that billing process and maximizing revenue, whether you're team paper or team digital.
The foundation of efficient billing
Yeah.
is having clear policies and procedures in place. Think of it as your billing playbook.
A roadmap for success.
So what should this playbook include?
Everything. From how you handle patient registration and insurance verification to coding guidelines, claim submission protocols, and even payment posting
It
procedures.
sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of having all these details spelled out?
Clarity and consistency. When everyone in your practice understands the process and follows the same steps,
Okay.
it minimizes errors, streamlines workflows, and makes training new staff members a breeze.
It's about creating a well-oiled billing machine.
Exactly. And here's a simple but often overlooked tip. Verify patient insurance information upfront.
Oh, okay.
I know it seems basic,
Yeah.
but you'd be surprised how often this step gets skipped.
What's the risk of not verifying insurance details?
You could end up submitting a claim to the wrong insurer or with incorrect information,
Right.
leading to denials and delays.
Talk about a frustrating way to start the billing cycle.
It is. Make it a habit to verify insurance details at every visit, even for returning patients, as their coverage can change. It only takes a few minutes and can save you a lot of headaches down the line.
It's all about being proactive and catching those potential problems early on. Now let's talk about coding.
Okay.
We know it's the heart of medical billing, but it can also be a bit of a minefield.
That's true. Accurate coding is crucial for getting paid what you deserve. Using the wrong codes or failing to capture all billable services is like leaving money on the table.
So it's not just about avoiding errors, it's about using codes strategically to maximize reimbursement.
Exactly. Invest in ongoing education for your billing staff.
Okay.
Make sure they're up to date on the latest coding guidelines. Consider hiring a certified coder if your budget allows. Or use coding software to help you select the most appropriate codes.
Right.
These tools can be a lifesaver.
It sounds like a combination of human expertise and technology is the winning formula.
It really is. And speaking of technology, let's talk about claim scribbing.
Claim scrubbing. Is that like giving our claims a spa day?
I wish it were that relaxing.
Okay.
Claim scrubbing is using software to check your claims for errors before you submit them. Think of it as a spell check for medical billing.
Catching those typos and inconsistencies before they cause trouble.
Exactly. Claim scrubbing software can flag things like invalid codes, missing information, and incorrect patient demographics. It's a fantastic way to prevent denials and speed up the payment process.
Sounds like a worthwhile investment.
Definitely, especially if you're handling a high volume of claims.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears and talk about a topic that can be a bit sensitive: patient collections.
I know this can be a tricky area for doctors. No one wants to feel like they're hounding their patients for money.
I understand, but the reality is that patients are increasingly responsible for a larger portion of their healthcare costs.
Right.
So having a clear and compassionate patient collections process is essential for your practice's financial health.
How can doctors make this process less awkward and more effective?
Transparency is key. Be upfront with patients about their financial responsibility.
Okay.
Explain their copays, deductibles, and any out-of-pocket expenses they might incur. Give them a clear explanation of your billing policies.
So no surprises when that bill arrives.
Exactly. Offer multiple payment options, such as credit cards, payment plans, or online portals. And train your staff to handle patient inquiries about billing in a friendly and professional manner.
It's about creating a positive patient experience, even when it comes to finances.
Absolutely. And if you're struggling with patient collections, don't hesitate to seek help from a billing specialist or consultant.
Okay.
They can offer valuable guidance and support.
Great advice. Now let's wrap up our discussion with a final tip for maximizing revenue. What role does technology play beyond just e-billing software?
Technology can be a powerful tool for optimizing your entire revenue cycle. Consider using a practice management system that integrates with your EHR and billing software.
Creating a seamless flow of information between those systems.
Exactly. This can streamline your workflows, improve communication between staff, and provide valuable insights into your financial performance. You can also explore tools for automating tasks like appointment reminders, insurance, eligibility verification, and patient statements.
Freeing up your staff to focus on more complex tasks and improving the patient experience.
Exactly. And finally, don't underestimate the power of data. Your billing data is a gold mine of information that can help you identify areas for improvement and make more informed decisions.
So it's about using data to work smarter, not harder.
Precisely. Use your billing reports to track key metrics like claim denial rates, payment turnaround times, and patient collection rates. Analyze these trends to pinpoint problem areas and make adjustments to your processes. Regular data analysis can help you continuously optimize your revenue cycle.
Aisha, this has been a fantastic deep dive into the world of medical billing. You shared so many valuable tips and insights. I'm sure our listener is feeling empowered to take control of their billing process and boost their revenue.
I hope so. Remember, efficient billing is an ongoing journey. By staying informed, embracing technology, and constantly seeking ways to improve, you can ensure the financial health of your practice for years to come.
And on that note, we want to thank you for joining us for this episode of Workers' Comp Unwrapped. We hope you've gained valuable knowledge and practical tools to navigate the world of medical billing with confidence. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those claims flowing. Thanks for listening to Workers' Comp Unwrapped. If you found value in today's episode, subscribe and share with fellow doctors. Stay informed and keep making a difference in your patients' care.